I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Yo, what's up? It's the Hungry Millennial. Today, my topic of discussion is the comeback. As of late, I've had a lot of friends reach out to me that have been either incarcerated or they've lost a friend or a family member or something like that. And one of the biggest things that I've learned over time was that if you want to change something, if you want something to be different, and you've had a major setback, you have to put in 2 to 3 times the amount of work, right? I've had a lot of financial difficulties over the years, and I've noticed that it takes 2 to 3 times the amount of brain work, times the amount of energy, times the amount of effort to change our lives. I had a friend that recently, they got in contact with me on Facebook and everything, and they was explaining to me their situation. They on house arrest, they ain't got no car, whatever, and they trying to get jobs. But when I really analyzed and I really talked him through the process of what he was doing on a regular basis, I was like, well, how many applications did you fill out yesterday? How many applications did you fill out the day before? How many have you called about? What I've noticed in my major points and opportunities for success when I did succeed the most, it was because I was exerting an extra amount of effort, an absorbent amount of effort. Some may even call it extreme or way too intense. And in that intensity, when I was going through those phases, when I was feeling downtrodden, I just kept pressing on the gas because I never knew when that opportunity was gonna come, when I had the opportunity to change my life. I am a firm believer that the harder you work and the more effort and the smarter you think about things and thinking about outside of the box, because there are a million other people that are trying to do the same thing that you're doing. That's when you start to get that breakthrough. That's when things start to change. That's when you start to see things differently. That's when your circle starts to change and you start to grow and mature. Unfortunately, life does not care about any of our problems. We come from a society where many of our parents might have told us it was okay, or sometimes we come from backgrounds, from different backgrounds where our parents may have been even, envious of us making it to a higher level than them. I'm not saying that pertains to me specifically, but a lot of you know who you are. But it is vitally important that every day, every hour, every minute, you really analyze how much time you have in those hours and those days and those minutes and what you're really doing. If you're trying to get a job, you probably shouldn't be smoking weed. You probably shouldn't be, going out and drinking. You probably shouldn't, be eating crazy food and spending $50 on food if you don't really have any money. If you're in the welfare system and you're getting government assistance and all that, maybe we should be watching our meals differently and doing different things there, so that way we can take our energy and exert it in other places, right? Because ultimately, when somebody gets out and they get their freedom, or whatever, or they get free of whatever circumstance it is, we have friends that want to throw us parties and they want to, hey, let's turn up, let's kick it. But we don't still have that same amount of pain and that same amount of energy when we were going through that struggle to take that pain and turn it into energy that's going to change our lives. And once we can take that pain and that hurt that we felt and turn it into energy and change our lives, that's when everything starts to change. But remember that pain when you was isolated, when you had that anxiety, when you had those moments where you were breaking down mentally, where you ain't have nothing and you couldn't do anything about it, and take that energy and exert it into changing the rest of your life. We have to stop being complacent and focus on the comeback. And that comeback, ultimately, it might not seem like much at first, but eventually it'll start to move mountains, And, Rome wasn't built in a day and it didn't crumble in a day. But if we don't focus on the things that we can change, our lives will never change. So, this has been, an episode with the Hungry Millennial. like, share, and subscribe. And if this helps you out, please share it with your friends. Hungry Millennial out.
I got loyalty.